He paid 3 credits for useless dragon. It roared when mechanic kneeled instead of sacrificing. The bazaar at Station Orphean smelled of ozone rust and roasted synth meat. Vendors called out over the hum of dock freighters, selling everything from alien relics to questionable genuine Terran antiques. Among the holographic billboards and flickering neon, a mechanic named Joran Kale sifted through stalls in search of spare parts for a grav engine. Joran wasn't rich. He was a deckhand mechanic, scraping by repairing outdated vessels for traders who didn't care about safety standards. His jumpsuit was stained with oil, his hair unkempt, and his credit chip barely had enough left to buy lunch, let alone something of value. But then he saw it. A cage. Small, dented, and covered with soot. Inside, curled like a discarded lizard, was a creature no longer than a child's arm. Its scales shimmered with faint blue sparks, though they dulled as if starved of energy. Its wings, fragile and half-folded, twitched once before collapsing against its side. The vendor, a hunched old merchant with cybernetic eyes, sneered. 3 credits, he rasped. Take it or leave it. Joran frowned. 3? For this worthless beast, the vendor spat. It won't eat, won't grow. Some fool thought it was a dragon egg from Kazath, but it's nothing. Dying. You want it, you get it cheap. The mechanic should have walked away. Dragons, real dragons, the genetically engineered kind bred by the Kazathi war clans. Sold for fortunes, not pocket change. What sat in the cage looked more like a sick pet than anything powerful. And yet, something in its dim eyes caught Joran's attention. He wasn't sure why, but he pressed his chip credit stick to the vendor's pad. 3 credits beeped away. The cage was shoved into his hands. The crowd bustled on, ignoring the man who had just bought a useless dragon. The mechanic's workshop. Joran's workshop was a repurposed cargo container on the edge of the docking bay. It smelled of burnt fuel and stale ration bars. He set the cage down on a bench littered with coils, wiring, and spare fusion regulators. The creature inside didn't move. Its scales flickered faintly, like the dying glow of a broken console. Joran sighed. Well, little one, looks like it's you and me. Don't die on me tonight, yeah? He rummaged through his supplies, pouring a little nutrient gel into a dish. The creature didn't touch it. He tried warming the cage with a plasma torch set low, thinking maybe heat would help. Nothing. By midnight, he was convinced he'd wasted what little money he had. He leaned against the workbench, rubbing his temples. And then it happened. The dragon, if that's what it was, lifted its head. Its eyes, faintly glowing, locked onto him. And in a weak but clear sound, it gave a tiny roar. Joran froze. It wasn't loud. It wasn't threatening. But it was defiant. You're not done yet, are you? He whispered. The creature stretched, wings trembling, and sparks danced faintly across its scales like static. For the first time in years, Joran smiled. Whispers of the past. Over the next weeks, Joran nursed the creature. He scavenged wires, rerouted power cells, even built a crude harness that fed tiny energy surges into its body. Slowly, it began to strengthen. Its wings unfurled further each day, and its sparks grew brighter. It never ate food. Instead, it absorbed electrical charge. Sometimes, when Joran was welding, the dragon would curl near the sparks, drinking them in like sunlight. He began to call it Ember. But strange things followed Ember's recovery. One night, Joran dreamed of fire, vast wings spanning across a battlefield, soldiers kneeling, offering not blood, but respect. And always, a voice whispering in the background, kneel, not sacrifice. He awoke sweating. Ember perched on his chest, its glowing eyes fixed on him. Joran didn't believe in omens, but he began to suspect Ember was more than just a discarded genetic experiment. Trouble in the docks. Life on Orphean was never quiet. Pirates, smugglers, and warlords passed through daily. One such warlord was Varenthal, commander of a mercenary fleet. Ruthless, ambitious, and obsessed with power, he was rumored to be searching for something, an ancient weapon hidden somewhere in the outer belt. Joran barely paid attention, until Varen's men came knocking. They burst into his workshop one evening, armored and armed, rifles gleaming. You, the captain barked. Mechanic, the warlord requires all vessels inspected and retrofitted. You'll serve. Now. Joran had no choice. They dragged him through the station to Varen's flagship, a massive war cruiser with blackened hull plates. Inside, Varen sat upon a steel throne, scars across his face, one eye replaced by a burning red implant. You the mechanic? Varen asked, voice sharp. Joran swallowed. Yes, sir. You will work for me. Fail and you die. Simple. And just like that, Joran was bound to the warlord service. Ember's secret. For weeks, Joran repaired engines and rewired weapons under guard. He kept Ember hidden, sneaking the small dragon aboard in his tool pack. The creature stayed quiet, but every so often it would glow brighter when near the warlord's chambers. One night, as Joran worked late on a grav core, Ember suddenly leapt from his pack, claws sparking. It pressed itself against the panel, and the console lit up a map, an encrypted chart buried deep in the ship's memory. Joran's eyes widened. The chart displayed coordinates, leading to something ancient, something powerful. That's what Varen was after. The warlord's obsession wasn't just rumor. He was hunting this relic, and somehow Ember was tied to it. But why? The ceremony. It wasn't long before Joran's secret unraveled. A guard caught Ember feeding on a sparking cable and dragged the creature to Varen. The warlord's eye blazed with recognition. A Kazathi dragon, he murmured. I thought they were extinct. He looked at Joran with cruel delight. You hid this from me. Fool, do you know what this is worth? Dragons were bred to guard the relics of the old empires. Their blood unlocks the ancient vaults. Joran's stomach dropped. Ember wasn't just rare. It was the key to the very weapon Varen wanted. Prepare the altar, Varen commanded. We sacrifice the dragon at the coordinates. Its life will open the gate. Joran's heart pounded. Sacrifice? Ember would be killed. He couldn't let it happen. The kneeling. The fleet arrived at the coordinates. A dead world orbiting a dying star. On its surface lay ruins of colossal stone, half buried in dust. At the center was a vault sealed with markings older than any human script. Varen's men dragged Joran and Ember forward. The warlord raised a ceremonial blade, crafted from alien alloy. Blood unlocks the past, Varen intoned. Sacrifice empowers mine. Joran's mind raced. The dreams, the whispers. Kneel, not sacrifice. When the guard shoved Ember onto the altar, Joran made his choice. He stepped forward, dropping to his knees before the dragon. Not in fear, not in surrender, in respect. Ember, he said softly, I will not harm you. I honor you. The ruins trembled. The vault glowed. Ember's eyes flared brighter than ever before. With a roar that shook the air, the tiny dragon unleashed a wave of energy. Lightning surged across the ruins, knocking guards sprawling. The blade in Varen's hand melted to slag. The vault opened, not from blood, but from reverence. Inside lay not a weapon, but a core of pure energy, pulsing with creation itself. Ember flew to it, absorbing its power. In moments, the small, fragile creature expanded, growing, wings stretching, body igniting with cosmic fire. From a half-dead hatchling to a radiant dragon of living starlight, the soldiers fled in terror. Varen screamed, lunging with a rifle, but Ember's roar incinerated him where he stood. Joran shielded his eyes. When he looked again, the dragon's vast form lowered, eyes burning with intelligence. And then, to his astonishment, Ember bowed to him. The new path, the vault's energy stabilized, flowing into Ember. The ruins hummed with renewed life, as if an ancient civilization had waited eons for this moment. Joran stood shakily. You weren't useless at all. Ember rumbled in agreement, lowering its head so Joran could touch its blazing scales. Despite its power, it was the same creature he had fed with sparks in his workshop. But now, it was also something more, guardian of the relic, and partner to the man who chose to kneel instead of kill. When Joran returned to Orpheon, he wasn't just a mechanic anymore. Whispers spread of the man who walked beside a dragon, the one warlord fleets dared not challenge. He never sold Ember, no matter what fortunes were offered, because some bonds bought for 3 credits are worth more than any empire's treasure.